Welcome to Vision India Forum, Amrit Kal series, the road to 2047. Wherein probably the generation Gamma would be privy to the hard work and these discussions, the results of these discussions, which we are going to be having and cascading to the policy makers. Generation Gamma is, the generation which comes into, being in the decade of 2040. So as of now, the generation Z is what we talk about, millennials, what we talk about. General Nair, probably we guys belong to the generation X. But our duty is towards the nation, not towards a specific generation. And when we talk about generations, today we live in the cyber generation. Cyber is more to do with everything around technology, not only IT. General Nair, he has been the National Cybersecurity Coordinator for the PMO for 2-3 years, and he demitted office in June 2025, just 1.5 months back. Generous enough to discuss with us important issues. And General Nair, in our last meeting, had discussed specifically with respect to the BFSI and the healthcare sectors, two very critical sectors which have focus in the eyes of the Prime Minister's office. Apart from sectors of power, transport, and CPSEs. CPSEs cover a whole host of sectors. Today, we are joined by a very important sector, shipping, ports, waterways. The Director General Shipping, Shyam Jagannathan, was kind enough 15 minutes back. The gentleman, I spoke to him, and in 15 minutes, he has a representative from his directorate, Mr. Dipendra Singh Bisen. Mr. Bisen, thank you for joining at such a short notice. I am Amit Goenka this side.
Yeah, good morning, sir. It's my pleasure to join this meeting.
We've also been joined by Shipping Corporation of India. My dear friend, BK Tyagi. Captain BK Tyagi was gracious enough to nominate 3 participants, and they have joined on board. We've also been joined by NRL, Numaligarh Refineries Limited. Bhaskar Jyoti Fukan, the chairman who has taken the organization to unprecedented heights, has sent us a few guys from his office who would be talking about the oil sector predicaments and the preparedness of an important company like NRL. Infra ports, they have opened up recently, huge investments coming up. Sarvananda Sonowal, one of my old acquaintances from Assam, he ensured that this sector has opened up with confidence from the highest office like never before. Inextricably linked because of the 7,000 kilometers boundary line that we share with the entire world, sea coast line, I'll be specific. It becomes very critical for us to be very careful about our preparedness with respect to cyber issues. Because you remember 2611, you remember so many other issues which have, reared their ugly heads because of the waters that we are privy to. They are our strengths, but they can be our excruciating weakness as well. I'll not stress this further because I am a guy who can keep going. I'll keep going on talking. We've also been joined, will be joined by NDMA, National Disaster Management Authority. The member secretary questioned me, Rajendra Singh, he questioned me, Amit, what has cybersecurity got to do when the landslides are happening, clouds are bursting, floods are happening, people are dying in Jammu and Kashmir, Uttarakhand? What has cybersecurity got to do with natural disasters? Cybersecurity is today almost like Corona or COVID. We can keep debating about its nature being natural or unnatural, but we cannot debate the inextricable link it has to a nation's existence, lest aside its prosperity and march towards global stardom. Over to you. Opening remarks. First of all, the lady from NSIC, National Small Industries Corporation, a very important player in India's growth story. Without MSMEs, without SSIs, the gentleman CMD, Subhranshu Shekhar Acharya, has sent this lady IC, and they are going to be celebrating their day on the 30th of August, National Small Industries Day as well. Anjuji, thank you for joining.
Good morning, sir, and thank you for giving the opportunity to join this platform.
Opening remarks, cyber preparedness, cyber security. We'll talk about CPSEs, we'll talk about mammoths and behemoths, but NSIC is equally, if not more important.
Sir, good morning. On behalf of NSIC, I extend a warm welcome to all esteemed dignitaries and General Nair, to all participants here, to this important gathering dedicated to the strengthening the foundation of the cybersecurity. This cybersecurity today is not a technical safeguard, but it's a critical foundation for protecting individuals and enterprises from the evolving digital threats. At NSIC, we are fully committed to fostering a secure, resilient, and a trustworthy digital ecosystems that empower businesses while safeguarding a national interest. So, at NSIC, we are. As a government of India enterprise, we have a robust cybersecurity preparedness framework in line with the RBI and SEBI guidelines. And we also follow the resilient business continuity and disaster recovery mechanisms. NSIC hosts its critical applications in the government approved data centers, that is CDEC and NIC, and it ensures the regular security audits by MIT approved certain auditors. And they also we also encompasses the DPDP Act, role based access controls, and maintains the incident response systems. And so we also have a cyber crisis management protocols and plan in place for the organization. And we have with a dedicated CISO and defined governance committees as per the various guidelines of MIT, RBI, and certain. NSIC is continuously monitoring the vulnerabilities, implementing the security patches, and conducting the awareness programs amongst our pan India branches. The preparedness ensures the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of the digital services offered to MSMEs while aligning the national's vision of a secure and a resilient digital ecosystem. So,
I think this was a very succinct and apt opening remark. I'll not waste further time. Opening remarks should be exactly as succinct as possible. You've covered a lot of areas, madam. You covered the audit aspects, which I was going to be bringing today on record, because CRT, CDEC, then NCIIC, all these institutions have been interested, and surely as we evolve as a nation, we'll have more such frameworks in place to ensure that if somebody is not able to hear, I guess. Chandresh Gupta ji, can you not hear us? Chandresh ji, can you hear us?
No, we can hear.
Okay, there was this problem. Sanjeev Dibrage, he's joined us from Numalika Refineries. Sanjeev ji, please put your cameras on. Okay, opening remarks from the Director General of Shipping Office, Shri Dipendra Singh Bisen, DDG Shipping. Mr. Bisen, ports, waterways, shipping. We've got your colleagues, Shipping Corporation of India, aptly represented through three IT experts from their company at the behest of the CMD. DG Jagannathan was kind enough, as I said, opening remarks to you, Dipendra Singh Bisen ji.
Yeah, so good morning, sir. I'm Deepen Singh Bisin, Deputy Director General here in DG Shipping. So, Director General of Shipping is a regulatory body when it comes to merchant navy. So, we regulate and we regulate lot of, I mean, say, because India being a signatory to many international convention, around 30 such conventions we are signatory. So, their implementation and is done by through DG Shipping. Now, when it comes to cybersecurity and all, we have under this national critical infrastructure, we have two such establishment here in DG Shipping. One is, can you just give me one? So, sir, we have LRIT, which is long range identification tracking system, which track through satellite, they track the position of the vessels in the Indian Ocean. So that is one LRIT and the other one is MMDAC. So these two things comes under critical infrastructure. Then in the Directorate General of Shipping, we have a very voluminous, humongous data related to all the seafarers. So India is the third to fourth biggest human resource supplier. I mean to say seafarer supplier globally. So in that case, we have a very critical as well as very sensitive data of these seafarer because this data includes from their beginning of the career till the end of the career, and it is very very confidential also. So we handle these infrastructure sorry these sensitive data with our system. Now when comes to this cyber security and all, recently yes, we were not that uh, what should I say, focused on the cybersecurity thing when it comes to our data or whether it comes to our national critical infrastructure. Recently, we have engaged agency who is doing the entire cybersecurity gap analysis for the Directorate General of Shipping. Most probably, they have submitted a draft report and all, so we will be publishing it I mean, say by first week or second week of this September. This is what I want to submit from the Directorate General of Shipping. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your opening remarks. Captain Chandresh Gupta, could you please introduce yourself? Captain
Yeah,
Chandresh Gupta ji.
yeah. Good morning, sir. Good morning to all the members. I'm Captain Chandresh Gupta from Shipping Corporation of India. Sir, I am handling the vessels as well as I am handling the oil major wettings in SCI. Sir, for cybersecurity, we have got a wider perspective because our ships are trading all around the world. Our ships, liner ships, oil tanker, gas carriers are sailing all around the ship. So, all around the globe, actually. And then we have got a good cybersecurity risk management plan on board the ships. And they are doing it very well. And we are keeping all the precautions so that the cyber security is not compromised. And in the office also, we are maintaining a well balanced and this proof have proved this thing system. So we are managing this cyber security very well, sir. Thank you.
Fantastic. We've got Mr. Narayan Shivkumar ji. Narayan ji, please introduce yourself first.
Yeah, I'm Narayan Shivkumar. I'm in the liner division of Shipping Corporation of India. And like Captain Chandresh Gupta said, we do have a robust cyber security system working on board, also in office. But then we'll have to upgrade, keep upgrading. In fact, I think we are having this forum basically for that. Especially with the, this 2 days back or 3 days back, we had hackers hacking the Iranian vessels. I think more than 60 vessels, they had stopped the communication. So we can, talk something on that if
Okay.
Narayan
Narayan ji, I've understood. These are just opening remarks and introductions also. We've also been joined by Sachin Dev Gautam from Shipping Corporation. Sachin ji, what do you handle, sir?
Hello, sir. Good morning to all. Actually, I'm Sachin Gautam from IT department, and we look after IT infrastructure at Shipping Corporation for the shore, for the internal customers, external customers. And regarding cybersecurity, I would like to mention that in today's digital era, data, I think, is a new currency, and we must secure it. And it is not a one-person responsibility nowadays. I think it is a collective task. Yeah.
Okay. We've also been joined by Numalika Refinery through Sanjeev Dibragade ji, CGM, and Shri Bhudev Kumar Das. Both of you gentlemen are requested to introduce and one by one give the opening remarks.
Yeah, I'm Sanjeev Dibragade. I am the CGM of head of IT department in Malay Refinery. I have been in IT field for, and our company has been ISMS certified for last 15 years. And we have implemented plethora of, security and cyber security measures in this company. My colleague, Mr. Bhudev Das, who is the CISO, he will talk about the frameworks which are being implemented and ongoing in this company. That's all from my side. Thank you.
And Bhudev ji, opening remarks.
Good morning, sir. It's my pleasure to join the discussion with so many experts from cybersecurity field from various organizations. We are one of the national critical organization dealing in oil and gas, and we're based out of Assam, as I think all of you are aware. Basically from ransomware attacks to AI-driven threats, actually, these are all new kind of threat. We need to protect our critical infrastructure for defending against our privacy. And thereby we are facing many challenges in both complexity and impact. And so I think collective efforts will help us in resolving everything. So as my HOD has already told, we are ISO 27000 certified since 2009. In fact, we are one of the first PSUs to get ISO 27001 certified. We have a managed SOC service, and we have a full-fledged internal audit team. We're also now working on getting our OT infrastructure ISO 62443 certified, and also planning for OT SOC. Thank you.
Fantastic, wonderful opening remarks. I mean, all you guys are so well prepared. I'm so happy. Now I bring on board. Now I quickly bring on board the man of the moment, the man of the Amrit Kal, because Lieutenant General Nair, Unikrishnan Nair, he is somebody who, from the army background, he understands the sensitivity of the cyber aspect much more today, considering the wonderful role that China plays. We all know Russia's prowess into this, but China is not left far behind, and especially with the current kind of bonhomie between the two countries. General Nair, AIMS, Oil India, BSNL, ICHR, COVID period, these are not one-off issues. 2025 itself, there were 150, as far as my internet knowledge goes, 150 successful critical infra attacks. Where are we when we talk about preparedness for cybersecurity as far as the CPSEs, the critical infra of this nation, is concerned? We've got almost 170 to 180, Maharatnas, Navaratnas, Mini Ratnas categories 1 and 2. We've got this great company like NSIC with us, with 2.5 crore, 3 crore units, who probably don't even know what the word cyber is. How do you think India, which is having a boundary, an international boundary, which it shares with well-wishers like China, which it shares with well-wishers like Myanmar, Bangladesh, and not forgetting, most importantly, the long-lost brother on the Western Front. Where do you think we stand today? How fast, how well are we geared, evolving, and what are the steps necessary that are in the pipeline? You may not divulge the critical informations, you may not divulge the sensitive issues, because just a month back, you were heading the PMO's cell for cybersecurity. You are also an expert on drones, by the way, the new weapon of warfare. So much so that pigeons had to be banned in this nation by the Supreme Court. Now, going back to General Nair, I hand it over to you. Opening remarks, and please set the tone as part of the keynote or as the keynote speaker for this symposium today. Over to you, Lieutenant General M.U. Nair.
Thank you, Amit. I hope you can hear me, Amit, first. Yeah, all right, okay. So I'm extremely glad that we have about 10 participants from multiple domains, the NSIC, and some of the other sectors which are extremely critical. And the way they opened their opening statements indicated that our efforts towards building awareness and making sure that every citizen, every industry understands the importance of cybersecurity. I'm glad that the responses of each one of you actually gave me an indication that, okay, we have reached some level of, we achieved some level of success in making sure that the cybersecurity vulnerabilities are showcased. So I'm glad that, Amit, our efforts over the last 3-4 years have actually paid off. A brief background about myself. I worked in the army for 39 years and was heading the information systems networks, the core of signals, which actually looks after the entire networks, information systems of the army. In my previous tenures, I worked in the cyber domain where we raised the Defense Cyber Agency. And I was also responsible for strategic.
Nair Saab, just give me just a moment. There are 2 more people who have joined because this is a very sensitive discussion. You represented the PMO just a month back. I cannot have, Snigdha, could you introduce yourself, please? Madam Snigdha, could you introduce yourself?
The mic is off.
Am I audible now?
Yeah. Yes, you're audible. Please keep the camera on.
Is it? I have kept it on. Can you see me?
Yes, madam, we can hear and see you now.
Yes, sir. So I've joined, I'm a consultant at the National Disaster Management Authority, and and Colonel Mathur have joined at the behest of KP Singh, sir.
Colonel KP Singh, and I told you NDMA will be joining us. We've also been joined by somebody, Dell. Is that company Dell? Dell, somebody's name mentioned as Dell, DELL. Could you please introduce yourself, sir?
Sir, that's actually Colonel Mathur. He's also from NDMA. I think it's because he's joined through the desktop. It says Dell, but he's from NDMA only.
He's from NDMA. Fantastic. Sorry. Okay. Now we've got the team more or less, the allotted team more or less in place now. Madam, we've also been joined by Shipping Corporation, Numalika Refinery. We've been joined by Director General Shipping's Office. We've been joined by NSIC people. So I will now hand it over to the keynote speaker.
Yeah, Amit, I'm extremely glad that you could organize this, and with some of the public sector undertakings being part of it, as also some of the key national agencies like the NSIC and the NDMA. They are key players, and when I had a discussion earlier with the NDMA, their leadership, the same question which you raised on what does cybersecurity got to do with NDMA came up. So I will discuss this issue also a little later. But I just wanted to put it across to you that, as citizens, what comes across, what we feel about the digital domain is, what impacts on citizens. We hear about cyber crimes, we hear about, all these losses which are occurring to our citizens on a day-to-day basis. So that is what we get to see from the media, from the social media platforms, etc. But there is definitely a larger game, like you rightly mentioned, there are national players, international players, and all this impacts on our national security. So as a person who's working at the highest level, let me put it across to you that cybersecurity is today an essential part of our national security ecosystem. I think the Shipping Corporation of India, the DG Shipping, their representatives actually mentioned about a few incidents which are impacting on countries today. So similarly, every aspect of our power, that is called the comprehensive national power, today actually is actually tied up. The umbilical cord is actually the cybersecurity. So any small disconnect in any of this particular large ecosystem will have a huge impact on our national security. It could be economical, it could be in terms of security itself, because some of the organizations you are representing are actually providing inherent security to our nation, like shipping. Now you look at the economic benefits which flow out of this particular thing to us. Every vessel which brings in containers, etc., are actually bringing, could be bringing in strategic, tools to us. So this is something which we need to actually factor in. Okay, but we as citizens, we normally get impacted only by the cyber crimes. Now, why are all of you important? Right? The organizations which you represent important. Now, look at this aspect that you are essentially the part of the national security ecosystem. All of you. and even the NDMA for that matter, anything which is happening in our fragile Himalayan ecosystem, which happens every year, you are the immediate responders to it. And how do you respond? Like I heard a statement by the Chief Minister of J&K. He mentioned that, there was hardly any communication today because all the terrestrial communication networks have failed. So how do we ensure that the NDMA's response mechanism functions well? Now, if it has interference through cyber domain, it can be impacted. Definitely, it can be impacted by adversaries. So all
Member
these are
Secretary Rajendra Singh yesterday, Member Secretary Rajendra Singh ji, who is a very dear friend of mine, who ensured that these representatives come. I had to persuade him because day before yesterday, we fought the entire day. He was with the Honorable Home Minister a full day because of the cloud bursts and floods and landslides happening. And we can see all over the newspapers what's happening in Jammu and Kashmir, Uttarakhand. And I had to explain to him, sir, this is a very basic, inextricable fact that without cyber preparedness, disaster, you can, there's no point demarcating between natural and unnatural disasters. When Corona happened, we kept debating whether it's natural, whether it's man-made, but ultimately, who is at the losing front? It's the citizens, it's the nation. Over to you, Nayak sir.
Amit, understand that cyber is only one portion of actually, it's just in a term. But what actually is more important is our large digital public infrastructure. Today, look at NRL. They have so many of their outlets which are pan-India or even outside. They're all connected through the digital domain. The NSIC. You mentioned about multiple initiatives that they have taken to connect with the citizens. Also with the federated structure we have. All of it is actually today supported through digital initiatives. You look at the Shipping Corporation of India and DG Shipping. They mentioned about the awareness on where the vessels are today. The maritime situational awareness actually is a tool connecting. It's all connected through the digital domain. So any small impact on this particular network which connects each of these entities. Understand that there are devices like all of us today are working on this particular mode of video conferencing. Now it's through a device. So if there are any vulnerabilities in a device, any of the applications, like we are using an application today called the Zoom. Now, if there is a vulnerability in the Zoom application, it will have an impact today on our ecosystem. Financial, like you look at UPI. So why I wanted to put it across to each one of you that while we have awareness on cybersecurity, but understand that it is not restricted to only word cyber. It's a much larger ecosystem, and it's actually impacting on our digital, connect which we have with the citizens, with the enterprises. Like Anu, I think actually brought it out. Anju actually brought it out. So it's essential that we protect this entire ecosystem. Now, how do you do it? Like I think the NRL mentioned, their CISO mentioned about segregating IT and OT systems. It's actually the right way. But can you actually differentiate between IT and OT systems? Because from the IT, it's a very difficult endeavor because there will be information flow which takes place, data flows which takes place from the IT systems to the OT systems, and the other way too. Because you require logs, you require information. So you can't actually segregate it. But how do you protect the ecosystem? So this is what is important. So my job to reach out to each one of you is to say that this is an important aspect which we need to take care of. One, how do we strengthen it? There are so many measures which we can take as individuals. You need to sensitize your leadership too. Okay, so these are aspects which I just thought we will discuss it over this particular session. And all of you are key members of our national security ecosystem. As I mentioned, as citizens, as as representatives of your own organizations. So what you need to do is that based on this particular interaction, you need to sensitize your leadership, decision makers, that we need to pay a little more attention to cybersecurity. This is something which I just wanted to put it across. Amit, if you want, I can take a break here and then get into respective sectors, because I got a lot of points, especially for the shipping sector. It's one sector where we probably, they have done some measures, but we need to look at it a little more critically. I can give them with examples also. Okay, Amit.
Yeah, I was going to now take it to that level only, wherein we start talking about case studies, small case studies, experiential learning, those kind of things. Oil India had a major attack during the COVID period, or probably somewhere near around that. Now, oil sector, the MOPNG, the Ministry of Petroleum, Oil, Natural Gases. India is heavily dependent. Energy is the most important area, one of the most important areas. What exactly happened with Oil India and how the threat was thwarted and how the balance was restored again? I know we would all like to hear it from the horse's mouth.
Amit, you want me to respond to that? Okay. Now I'll come to the oil sector specifically. Let's look at, about 2 months or 3 months back, we had Op Sindoor. Now it's a fallout of a very tragic incident which took place in Pahalgam. And I'm sure some of you, I think, who are CISOs or involved in this particular cybersecurity ecosystem would have immediately noticed that the threats to our cyberspace actually multiplied. Multiplied means, it was actually exponential threat, and we came under such severe DDoS attacks, especially our energy sector, financial sector, defense, governmental sites, all of them came under very severe threats. In fact, it happened from 23rd or maybe 24th April onwards. So our country was targeted by adversaries, and it could be state sponsored, it could be non-state actors who are involved in this game. We can't stop people from attacking our infrastructure, though there are measures which have been in place, and that's how we survived. We came across such severe attacks. Look at the number of DDoS attacks which took place on our financial systems. If you just Google it, you'll come to know. So, energy sector. Now, are we protected adequately? The financial sector had to actually resort to methods like, they had to air gap, and have geofencing. We stopped, IPs from outside contacting us for certain periods of time. Such measures had to be taken, but it's difficult decisions to take because today the financial transactions are, global in nature. So we can't actually do the geofencing within our country. But sometimes we'll have to take such stringent measures to protect our cyber ecosystem. Now, I will paint the picture of, let's look at any of our oil sectors, and even NRL, for that matter. Some of your equipment systems would be of legacy. They have been purchased, I know that, the NRL started, I think, from 2001, 2003. I'm not very sure, but I've traveled extensively through that area. But I think some of the IT or OT infrastructure would be legacy. It happens in our energy sector too. In fact, I've come across OT systems which are still controlled by Windows XP platforms. Now, understand that many of these OT software, hardware is outdated. Now, can we replace it? No, we cannot, because it impacts on the functioning. So we need to make sure that with the legacy systems which are in place, we need to protect our ecosystem. Now, this is important. Now, how do we do it? So we need to have the CISOs assessing the entire infrastructure, first the IT and the OT, making sure that, these are protected by themselves, one. Two, can we have periodic assessments of the threat? The threat landscape also changes every time. Today, there are much more tools which are generated literally every day through AI, etc., where the threat hunting is a commercial job today, an opportunity today. So there are youngsters, there are people, there are organizations which are actually carrying out analysis of what threats lie in your ecosystem. And it need not be, intrusive. It can even be, what ports are open at what time. All this are the information which can actually be obtained through open sources. So the vulnerabilities of your ecosystem will always be, visible. So it's our job to make sure that we carry out an assessment as to, at any point of time, what are the vulnerabilities in our system. This is something, especially for the oil sector, it's important. Now, what devices are we using today? Now, if I ask the energy sector that what are the devices, I'm sure many of them may not even know the entire the framework which they have. So can we carry out an analysis of what are the devices which gets connected to a network today carried out? Assessment, the entire assessment of the vulnerabilities. The asset management, the entire assets which are there, which are part of your ecosystem. So this is the basic step from which you need to actually go. At each level, you need to identify, okay, if these assets are required, it cannot be removed, then what how can we prevent attacks from taking place? So at every level, we need to carry out an assessment like this. I'm sure many organizations with good CISOs have already done it, and that's how the ecosystem is protected today. So at every stage, we need to carry out. Now, this is not sufficient. We need to carry out the periodic audits. I'm sure many of you are doing it. There are certain guidelines on this. NCIPC, the guidelines, especially for the critical infrastructure. So all this are being followed today. But many of the organizations today take it only for compliance. No, they just tick saying that, okay, audit has been done. But do we go into the details of what has come out of that audit and take rectification actions? It doesn't happen. I'll give you an example of ports. Now, there are representatives of the DG shipping here. You just carry out an assessment of or have a look at the audit reports of all the ports which have actually there in our country today. You will realize that many of these ports, the audit reports indicate that there are major vulnerabilities, critical vulnerabilities in many of their systems today. So they may not be, they cannot be probably removed over time in a short period of time. But as people who are responsible, the decision makers need to be aware that there are vulnerabilities in this ecosystem. 1, 2, if they can be mitigated through processes and procedures, can we have SOPs? Can we have processes to make sure that if the vulnerability exists, they can be mitigated through processes and procedures? That's something which we can actually do in our organizations. So can we work on this? So these are the steps which I think all of you need to resort to. Now, despite all this, there will be attacks which are there. And I keep mentioning it that there's nothing called perfect cybersecurity. So our digital ecosystem will continue to be targeted. So we require a very professional set of people, skilled people who are looking at your entire ecosystem 24/7. And based on your important, like if you are an important entity in this national, the entire national, it's a constituent of national power. So can we have 24/7 surveillance of your entire ecosystem? So that's why SOCs and SOCs and NOCs we call it. So they're all important today. And you require skilled people who are monitoring the entire ecosystem and making sure that any threat which emerges, it need not be from your inside the system. It could be from outside, or it could be from inside too. There are today insiders or also who are involved in this particular, targeting your own systems. So can we look at it at a central point, monitor it, and if there are any vulnerabilities which come out, can we plug it at that point of time? So it's time that we understand the entire, I'd mentioned about, asset management. We need to have periodic audits being carried out of the entire system. You require surveillance of the entire system through NOCs, SOCs, etc. In addition, it's essential that you sensitize your entire hierarchy that, if there are things which can be changed, your IT infrastructure, if it's outdated, can we change it? And for me, who worked in the government for 40 years, I can tell you that, the electronic life of systems today are about 5 years. So every 5 years, or even before that, you should be in a position to update your systems. Or are you, having contracts, maintenance contracts, which make sure that your software gets updated periodically, your firmware gets updated. Like if you're using routers, are the router software getting updated? Now, how do you check it out? So this is the job of your organizational CISOs to make sure that the entire, architecture which you have, the hardware, software, is updated and kept in a, in a state where it is cyber ready at any point of time. So this is what impacts on us in the public sector or in the governmental space. Amit.
Okay, I will again bring you in because you'll have to keep interjecting and take us through various sectors, especially those which are at display today. I will now quickly bring in the speaker from NDMA because you see, disaster and security, they are two sides of the same coin. If you want to be disaster, in terms of your insulated, you need to have the securities in place. General Nair, before I get the solutions from you, what are the problems that these people from NDMA might have experienced from a technological perspective which could be inextricably or directly or indirectly linked to the disasters that they, handle in their day-to-day situations. For example, the Jammu Kashmir floods, or what happened in Wayanad, for example. These kind of big disasters that keep happening. Is there any link to the cyber preparedness? Anyone from NDMA?
Sir, I'm Colonel Anuj Dayal Mathur, sir, retired from Corps of Signals after putting in 31 years of service, sir. And I am part of NDMA as Senior Consultant Communications, sir. And sir, our proactive, we are proactive towards the disasters, sir. And in that, sir, there are two applications which we are using. One is the application. It's a CAP alert system, sir, called Sachet, through which we
Colonel Mathur, just a small interjection, sir. Please do not divulge. Please do not divulge sensitive information, because this is NDMA. This is not a company. This is NDMA.
Yes, sir. There is nothing which I am divulging is sensitive, sir. The Sachet application is available everywhere, sir. It is basically, sir, we are sending the alerts. So where the cyber comes in, sir, is that these alerts, if this system gets hacked, sir, then alert can be generated, which can cause chaos, sir. So how are we protected, sir? We have got this made through our government agency, which is CDOT, sir. And the security, what we have done is, sir, earlier we were on the NIC cloud, sir. Now today we are in GCC Tier 4 multi-impaneled cloud, sir. And we are ensuring that the cyber security is taken care of, so as nobody enters our system, sir, and generates such alerts, because the applications are there right till the states and all the alert generating agencies. So anybody can pose into it, sir, and generate such kind of alerts, which are geographically sensitive alerts, sir. This is the first application which we are using, sir. Then we have got our own website, sir, and we have got again that website is stored on the cloud, and we are ensuring that the firewalls are there to protect us, sir. Then the third thing which is there, sir, is our extension of ERSS, that is 112, which is for the police, that has been extended for disaster management. Here also, sir, the servers are there with, again, this has got made by CDAC, which is a government agency, and we are protected as the cloud is provided by CDAC itself, sir. So these are the applications, sir. And otherwise, the data which these states are having, sir, and at the district level, sir, the states and districts are responsible, sir. I have visited right till district level, sir. They are following the cyber security, and their audits are also there, sir, on cyber, sir.
Colonel Mathur and Snigdha ji, anyone of you could answer any glitches that have led to problems, or that have led to, or that have escalated into major problems that the NDM has had to fall prey to because of a certain glitch, or probably a technical kind of a gap which you might be having, something which, if you share, General Nair could address for future avoidance.
Sir, as far as the cyber domain is concerned, sir, we have not faced any issue because of which the disasters could have been magnified, or there could have been
General Nair, what could be the possible examples of such technical areas which could be exploited by vested interests to cause mayhem from a disaster perspective in India? Could you please cite a few small examples which these people can take away?
Okay, Amit, a lot of work has happened in the NDMA for strengthening their first networks and the cybersecurity. In fact, we've been closely associated. Their representatives used to call on and and learn. But the ecosystem is quite large, and there are devices which pick up. There are sensitive devices which are actually put on remote locations, which have applications which which may not be Indian made. They could be foreign applications which are there, which they also have interfaces with international bodies insofar as earthquake, tsunami, all this, the warnings which come up. So there are interfaces where there are multiple applications, and any of these applications having vulnerabilities can actually laterally spread into our ecosystem too. So this is something which I'm sure Mathur would have actually looked at and should take care of. This is something which is there. I'll give you an example again of Sachit application which is there. I was in fact having this application, and about I think in the month of March we had an earthquake in Delhi. It was about 4.6 on the Richter scale, and immediately I looked at this application to see whether that earthquake was part of this particular Sachit application, but it didn't come up till about 7 o'clock. So that means that the entire ecosystem was rightly looked at from a cybersecurity perspective and then connected. But my point is that if we have a global ecosystem for providing information, there could be a vulnerability which can come from any of these applications. One, the devices. I mentioned to you, they could be from multiple nations, so it could have a vulnerability if they're not updated in terms of their softwares, firmwares. So if there is a vulnerability, any of these, and many of these devices are in very, very remote locations. It could be looking at water levels, it could be looking at snow levels. There are devices which are kept like this in multiple places. So there are sensors which are there. So if any of these sensors can actually, if they're not updated periodically, looked at periodically, so then there could be a challenge to the entire cybersecurity. They could be prone, they could be vulnerable. That's all that I wanted to put it across.
Mr. Dibragade from NRL has some points.
Sir, from NDMA, I'd like to have a question actually. This is regarding the application which you have developed. See, we have faced actually two situations during this thing COVID and certain what do you call connectivity disruptions when there is some type of exams that goes on in our state government. So this internet connectivity and all those gets totally disrupted for the whole day, for the period actually. So in this period, our transactions actually, all are happening through our internet connectivity. So our operation comes to a certain standstill. Only our internal LAN keeps working. So we have got two actually sensitive locations. One is Numaligarh, which we actually do product dispatches, and other is Siliguri. Siliguri is very important because that supply to our defense forces in Satna and Hasimara. Okay. So is there any application which you think of developing where, in this type of scenario where, the application can work, information can be shared? I'm talking about extreme cases actually. So nowadays, extreme cases actually happen where we get actually disconnected with all communications. So that's my question.
Sir, as this question is directed towards the NDMA, sir, the internet connectivity, how it is connecting your remote areas, sir, that is important. So specifically, I won't be able to answer for that particular area, sir. Since I'm not aware of how the connectivity is reaching your place, sir.
No, sir, my point is as an NDMA, this thing you are providing, what do you call, the this thing, Chief Minister of, what do you call, Jammu and Kashmir, they were saying there's no communication. In extreme cases, any type of satellite type of broadcast type of communication you are thinking of developing or, can be thought of actually.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That PPDR is one of the projects which is looking into it. We are in the final stages of completing it, sir. The cell on wheels is one of the solutions which we are thinking of. And to place these cell on wheels with the states and to the sensitive districts is one of the points which is there as part of it, sir.
because this type of application is very relevant for us in case if, for example, some type of disaster happen in a refinery. These are hazardous. There might be fire and all those. So communication, all those facilities get actually disrupted or burned or damaged. So the basic communication is actually required to actually contact with people or to coordinate with various agencies, from our district agencies to a central government to our ministries. So this type of actually extreme and actually application is actually today required.
Sanjeev, can I also add on with one? I think your connectivity issues. I think you require to have a direct connectivity between your Siliguri and Numaligarh. That's something which
No,
you
yes,
could
sir,
have.
sir. We are having connectivity is on today's situation. We have got all redundant connectivity, but extreme situations happen nowadays.
Yeah, so I accept it, and since I worked with 4 tenures in Assam, I understand your predicament. It happens, but why don't you take a satellite, a bandwidth connecting both Siliguri and Numaligarh? This is something which you could consider. One, two, for the information on for forewarning, which forecast of Met.
No, sir, my actually that scope is not limited to NRL. I'm talking about larger scope of actually having this type of very small type of application where in terms of extreme disconnectivity, those can be used using satellite broadcast.
Yeah, so I'm sure you're all aware of the space communication facilities which are going to come up very soon. So
right.
Many of our communication links which are going to be space based will actually solve your problems. Because you don't depend on terrestrial connectivity for that particular thing, and these can be emergency measures which you could actually do. So when
because as a part of disaster management, we need to have this type of actually backup.
Absolutely. So that is how the Starlinks or the OneWebs or the Kuipers are now coming in. So please, I think that could provide you a solution. And the warning can definitely come to you from NDMA, like he mentioned about the Sachit application. I'm sure you're using it, though it requires a lot of improvement for your specific sector. But I think at least in terms of rainfall, earthquakes, warnings which are there, I think that application is extremely good. So the armed forces have started using it. So maybe I think your industry should also get into this particular use. I think it will actually, solve some of your challenges. But I think
we will explore that particular app.
Yeah, and I think sitting in Numaligarh or on either side of Brahmaputra or the riverine system which you have, which is prone to floods every year virtually, I think you need to have a space-based system to support you. So that's something which you could look at as part of you are improving the connectivity.
Right. Thank you, sir.
I think this was about basic. It was, I think, it was a kind of a wonderful. This particular segment was quite wonderful because we could, see a lot of people, interacting, and especially the NDMA vis-a-vis the oil sector coordination. It lays a platform for discussions and dialogues between both the sector. I mean, between the oil sector overall and NDMA in the days to come. This is a very clear example of that. How there is a lack of coordination, or probably there needs to be more coordination between such sectors and critical organizations like NDMA. General, before I again bring you in, there is this NSIC lady, Anjuji, sitting with us. NSIC is also responsible for the small scale industries development in this nation. Yeah. Now, even if NSIC is prepared, somebody is talking. Anjuji, एक second. I think your mic was on. Anyways, Anjuji, what I would like you to throw some light upon is how do you ensure that NSIC is preparing the small scale industries for, because small scale doesn't mean that they do not face such threats or their threats are not material or tangible in nature. They are equally important. And if we take together the entire MSME strength of the nation, an economy depends on the MSMEs as much as it does on the public sector. Anjuji, how are you preparing your MSMEs for this huge threat named cybersecurity?
Okay, so as we all know that MSMEs are the backbone of the Indian economy, and they are contributing 30% to the GDP and 50% to the total exports of the organization of the India. So the key challenges which is being faced by the MSMEs are basically low awareness that the undertaking of the cyber, they are limited undertakings of the cyber risk and security practices. Then there are the budget constraints. They have the small IT budgets, which is restricted to the investments in the advanced security tools. So they are not able to do that. Then the dependence on the third party and third party resilience on the vendors, fintech apps, and the digital marketplaces. Then they have the weak policies. There are no policies as such available for the MSMEs of India. So the common threats which is being faced by the MSMEs are basically of the phishing or the business email compromises, ransomware attacks, data breaches, malware in the supply chain and the tools, and the website defacements and the payment frauds. So, for the cyber security preparedness for the MSMEs, the basic hygiene we are providing, we have certain parameters and certain awareness programs which NSIC is running for the MSMEs, and from time to time we give them our users, our customers about the cybersecurity preparedness guidelines for the basic hygiene like strong passwords, MFAs, regular backups, and updated softwares to be used. Then we also suggest them about the affordable security tools. We also have a SOC and a NOC available with the NSIC, wherein all the web applications of NSIC is being regularly audited by the certain auditors. We have the information and the information system audits to be conducted for these audit practices. Also we make them, our MSME, aware about this, and we also make them aware about the incident response readiness. Suppose in case if there is an cyber crime happened, so way to respond, way to report about this, and how to go about this, these kind of the training notifications we regularly issue to the customers of of NSIC, which are basically MSMEs of India. And through the government or institutional support, like team initiative is one of the key projects which is upcoming. NSIC being an implementing agency for Ministry of MSME for the team initiative, where we are providing them the tools for market themselves. So we are in planning to encompass certain security parameters in that particular thing. Then we regularly issue the certain advisories which is being received by NSIC to and pass it on to our customers, MSMEs, so they'll be aware about the malicious IPs or malicious contents or the cyber threats which is occurring nowadays in the market. And we also make them aware about the Cyber Swachhta Kendra, which is a mighty initiative for bootnet cleaning and malware analysis. And we also help them in finding out the secure digital payment solutions for the MSMEs. So for this way forward, there are certain limitations and certain what we can say hitches for the cyber security, wherein the government support is also required. So the national cyber security policies under revision for 2013, and the DPDP Act, which does not cover cybersecurity directly, though it covers the data protection and data privacy portion, but the cybersecurity as such is not definitely target or mentioned in the DPDP policy. So the government can look into these fields and provide a proper framework or proper policy for further passing on to MSMEs of India. And considering that they can also provide the scalable solutions like cloud-based SOC and the managed security services, which is budget-friendly for the MSMEs. And the industries association should come forward, which can support in the capacity building and the cyber literacies of MSMEs. So, with the collaboration between the government, CPSEs, and private sector, we can strengthen the MSMEs digital ecosystem security.
Somebody's microphone is off. It is causing some disturbances. If you could please somebody, because we cannot monitor it from here, and I cannot see anybody having his microphone on. So somebody's internal or somebody's microphone on the side table might be on. Please switch it off. Okay, now wonderfully put, Anjuji. But then your ecosystem is quite diverse. It's unlike the CPSEs, wherein they cater to a sector like shipping corporation, ports, Director General's offices being represented here. It is unlike the oil sector. Your sector covers thousands of sectors. You're also handling MSMEs. You've got SSIs, micro units. You've got the DC MSME. You've got the Ministry of, you've got SIDBI. You've got NSIC. You've got the Mudra. You've got EDIs. You've got NISBUD. How do you guys, kind of coordinate amongst yourself, first of all?
Sir, for the coordination, we regularly have the meets and we regularly are in touch with the other organization, and we are planning to have further communication on the aspect of the cyber security with the different organization. Like I've told you, there are certain platforms which is being developed and which is under development for coordination of all the agencies under MSMEs, under the Ministry of Micro and Small Medium Enterprises. So we can interact with each other, we can help each other in strengthening up our cyber security ecosystem, sir.
Nair sir, because you see, each and every sector is very important.
Yeah, Amit, I'll actually respond to some of the issues which I think Anju, you actually summarized the whole challenges the entire ecosystem faces. It's fabulous, and I know that it is a very critical sector where we cannot do too much into this because there is no financially there is no vibrancy in this, and they will not look at cybersecurity as a as one of their important aspects. So I consider this. So one of the suggestions which we have been actually giving to the small banks is that, one, can we have a larger entity providing cybersecurity to a few entities under your area? It could be geographical, like a region. Two, it can be sector specific. Like Amit mentioned that you have such a varied sector you are dealing with. So can we look at piggybacking over one centralized SOC NOC, which can actually look at the devices which these people have, the applications which they have, and then give them guidance. Now, it could be an outsourced service that, today we have a very good cybersecurity ecosystem. So it could be an outsourced model which we can look at. And these small entities, MSMEs, micro, they could actually use this particular central platform for making sure of their cybersecurity. The audits can be done remotely. It's possible today. And maybe a central team from your, under your aegis can actually move and then give them guidance. I'm not calling it an external audit, but it could be guidance, to strengthen their posture. This is what you could actually do to ensure some, and then through some mandatory or guidelines, you could say that use these applications or avoid using certain applications which are vulnerable. These are things, which you could actually promulgate from your office. So that will help out the entire, the gamut of MSMEs which are there. What you mentioned about cyber hygiene, I think it's a standard practice. We need to educate all our citizens on cyber hygiene. It starts from the citizens itself. And then, then we can actually slowly move up. But luckily, I think our financial sector is now fairly stable in so far as cybersecurity is concerned. Now, the requirement is to connect people who are under you, your ministry. That's where I think we need to focus on. I think a lot can be done. If you start initiatives, identifying. I also went to the industrial associations. Okay, the PSD Chamber of Commerce, the ASSOCHAM, who have sizable presence I said, why don't you take many of these organizations under your fold and then create SOC NOCs for them? They can, and it could be for a minuscule amount. And it's a service they are providing. This is something which you could actually, push from your side. That's my suggestion.
Anjuji,
Yes, sir. We are taking some of the parameters in consideration. One of the scheme of digital MSME, which is under the Ministry of MSME, where we are actually providing, we are planning to give MSMEs a small ERP system, which will be based on SOC and NOC. So indirectly, they'll get the SOC and NOC facilities through NSIC.
No, my point is that even the normal sectors, even if they are doing some business from home, so you could actually incorporate them also as part of this SOC NOC, so that their devices, if there are any vulnerabilities, these people who are manning this can inform them that you have this vulnerability. So and maybe it could be for one small sector, it could be cottage industries or whatever. So this is something which you could think of. I'm just thinking out of the box.
Anjuji, Miss Anjuji, since we are interacting and we cannot go on with each sector indefinitely because there are so many other people sitting here. Just one or two small observations. From NSIC's perspective, your focus is on the small industries. More than the medium scale, it is more towards the SSIs, small scale industries, the micro units. Retail sector, for example, or are there sectors which have been earmarked? Because these are organized nowadays. Retail is organized. Unlike the Kirana stores or the dark web stores, the retail sector is quite organized. At least for that sector, have you thought of something?
Sir,
because it is B2C, it is completely customer centric. You talked about DPDP. DPDP, again, it's a completely open-ended kind of a situation right now, wherein offline transactions, online transactions, there are so many gap areas which need to be addressed, and the BN Sri Krishna committee report is still, mulling over it. So, what do you say from your perspective for that sector?
So, for the retail sector, not only for the retail sector, for the many sectors, as I have told you, we are coming up with a team initiative portal, which is basically focusing on the B2C of the MSMEs of India, and we are connecting with ONDC network for this particular ONDC network protocol for upgradation of this retail sector and many more sectors which are there for the MSMEs and which are encompassing and we are making them available for the B2B platform and B2C as well. We are promoting them out and we are also taking care of the cybersecurity aspects in their B2C transactions, and we are already in touch with ONDC and we are already in touch with the ministry for taking up initiatives and taking up steps for this making them ready for the e-commerce platforms with security aspects of the nation. So MSMEs, we are encouraging MSMEs to adopt a security first approach which is there for, and providing them affordable tools on that team initiative portal itself, sir.
Narsab, she just spoke about the ONDC, collaborations and retail, the kind of economy opening up with gig and, aggregators and retail and all these things. These, initiatives like ONDC and all have gained quite a lot of significance, yet to take off properly. But there have been a lot of management challenges that they've been facing. What interactions you've had as from the PMO's perspective for such key organizations who supposedly are supposed to or presumably are supposed to drive such important sectors which are going to ultimately drive the economy or which are driving the economy. So much so, even the gig workers says, draft bills, completely are in haywire situations.
Amit, very frankly, we did not look at the cybersecurity aspects of the ONDC or e-commerce sectors. In fact, we are only dealing with private sector e-commerce platforms which were there, and we didn't look at the cybersecurity of the ONDC platforms per se. This is a weakness. I think we will sensitize the requisite people to play a focus on this aspect.
Okay,
and this is something which I think I learned from today's dialogue.
DDG shipping, a very important sector. Now I must bring in the institution, the policy person. DDG shipping, Dipendra Singh Bisenji.
Yeah.
Sir, huge investments, sector opened up, new acts in place, new policy in place, ports coming up like never before, authorities being named, trusts being renamed as authorities. I mean, this sector is up for the taking. Every great business house in this nation, Adani, Ambani, anyone, I mean, ports, 7,000 kilometers of coastline, India, and then the trade barriers. India has to now start running here and there. US is not the only shore left now for India. And with the DG shipping being represented through you today, this becomes of utmost importance that our ports, our shipping companies, our waterways, which is one of the most important critical infra of this nation, along with defense or power. How do you put across your points with respect to the preparedness? What are the action plans in place which could be discussed on a public platform like ours? Would you like to throw some light upon them? And then what are the challenges you have? What are the expectations from the government which General Nair would be able to address?
Sir, here on this, from Director General of Shipping point of view, I just want to clarify first thing to Nair sir as well as to yourself also, sir. Under this Ministry of Port Shipping Waterways, we have different verticals. So under one vertical is DG Shipping, the other is SCI, the other is ports. So when it comes to ports, they have major and minor ports. They have their own system where we don't interact directly with ports. So I think there is no representative here from the ports. And I understand, yes, you are 100% right that port infrastructure is very, very critical in terms of cybersecurity and all. They have a dedicated CISO there. I'm not aware actually what measures they have taken at the level of port, but I'm aware because I have attended one or two some training, 1 day or 2 day cybersecurity training with them. So I'm aware that major ports they have their CISO and everything policy and everything in place. Their concern also I know, but I'm not the correct person to raise their concern, which we have discussed during our meetings and all. As far as DG shipping is concerned, I have already in my opening remark I have mentioned what are the things which are important, and just to highlight that yes, 90%, rather more than 90% of the global trade is through ships only. And that's why this is too critical. Even during COVID time, if you will see the entire globally, if you see everything got standstill, but this shipping continues, and then this trading through ships was the only medium that time was going on. So yes, and then recently also, as I think somebody from SCI has very clearly stated that recently there are many cases of cyber attack on ships. The very recent one in 2025 is the MSC Antonia. So it has been grounded, as you know, what happened in the Red Sea area. So recently, this is the biggest example of MSC Antonia grounding, where GPS spoofing, other things has been done, and this because of this ransomware attack against this, and then there is one more ransomware attack against Atlantis submarine. So these are the recent few instances where which came to the shipping industry, and it's not only at DGS, but at every level, this cyber security, especially cyber security in maritime sector, is now at least people are discussing now. At least it is coming in number of seminar and even at the International Maritime Organization also. Now, as far as DG shipping is concerned, as I have mentioned you that we have engaged earlier, we were also not taken these things seriously. CISO has been very recently notified. As far as dedicated IT team is concerned, we have IT people here in DG shipping, but in-house officer, we all are either technical or from administration, but nobody is IT expert in the sense has deployed or has been engaged or for this exclusively for this, but because taking cognizance of this recent development, we have requested ministry and ministry was kind enough. We have got few approvals for dedicated IT officers. So on separate vertical we have requested and we have got approval for that. This is one thing. Now the team which we have engaged, one agency which we have engaged to carry out the gap analysis for cybersecurity in our office. So they have done gap assessment. They have submitted policy framework, which is still in the draft. We are in the last stage of discussion. So this gap assessment of all digital application or aligned offices using this NIST 800-553 framework. Further, DGS how we are going to identify the gaps in implementing an IST cybersecurity framework. We have also mapped this National Cybersecurity Reference Framework. We are also working for this ISO 27001 as well as 22301. And very recently, we have even started the training on cybersecurity. So around 2 rounds of trainings for all the users have already been completed, and we have planned from 1st of September to then 4th of September. There is third round of cybersecurity training in our office.
General Nair, there were two important incidents in 2017, for example, the NotPetya attacks at the Jawaharlal Nehru Port Trust, earlier the trust. Now, even Bisenji is there, the DDG shipping is there. He would agree with this particular observation. One of the deadliest attacks on Indian ports. Jawaharlal Nehru Port Trust had this attack, which was a malware attack, malicious software. And then it was a follow-up to the WannaCry attack, series of attacks globally, which were ransomware attacks, which kept happening across the world on the global portal, kind of a ecosystem. How well prepared is India today, General Nair, to, ward off such threats, and what more needs to be done? Probably the DDG is here. He will cascade the message to the ministry.
Amit, first, I think the representative from DG Shipping very clearly mentioned that he's only responsible for the shipping vertical. So there is no representative from the ports or from the lighthouses. But, let me put it across that all three under the DG, that under the ministry has threats today. And we could actually see all these threats emanating. Now, look at we'll now first discuss only the shipping. Ship as a platform today is highly vulnerable. I think the example given by, Devendra was absolutely, a fabulous one. I think today through GPS spoofing or through manipulation of the navigation, the GNSS signals, a ship can actually be, his movement can be manipulated. I'll give you another very, very recent example where, one of the ships, today all platforms are highly digitized in terms of maneuverability, power, everything. Everything is digitally controlled, including the power. Now, look at a ship which went and hit the Baltimore Bridge. I think it happened in the month of February, March. Now, it may not have been a cyber incident, but still the entire power or, the entire machinery of that ship collapsed because of a suspected power failure. That ship was on its own. It drifted and went and hit that bridge which collapsed. It happened, I think, this year only. So we have examples like this. We also had one in I think an incident where a ship got prevented the shipping lanes in Suez Canal to be blocked. It can happen in any of our Malacca Straits also. Similar situation can actually jeopardize the global shipping itself. Now, all this is possible today. So it's essential that the aspects of cybersecurity for ship as a platform is looked at, especially for white shipping. Two, manipulation of the GPS can happen even in our situational awareness systems. There is a AIS platform which is there, which I think gives you the automated information systems, which actually give you the position of that ship, or even for that matter, it's actually going down right till the coastal, the boats, etc., fishing vessels, etc., etc. Now, can they manipulate the signals? And I'm sure you all understand that, in very recent Op Sindoor, you would have come across an article where one of the fighter combat aircraft actually went under the shadow of an airliner. A similar thing can happen in sea also. So all this is, threats which are there insofar as shipping is concerned. So we need to be very, very aware of this aspect. And I think we need to have a little more of focus. I'm sure, like rightly mentioned by Devendra, that there's a lot of focus on cybersecurity, something which we need to now look at a little more critically. Now, more vulnerable is ports and even lighthouses for that matter. Lighthouses, we may not consider it to be that important because, they're all providing, navigation as assistance for navigation. But today, a lighthouse can be shut down at critical times. So it's possible through cyber means. So these are all things which we need to factor in, and I think the ministries now need to have dedicated manpower. Like rightly he mentioned that they didn't have IT manpower first, but IT is different from cybersecurity. So we need to have at least one person independently looking at cybersecurity, and he should be directly reporting to the. In fact, I would feel that he should directly report to the secretary of that ministry, so that he gives an independent view. So if you actually have the IT person and the cybersecurity person together, there could be compromises which happen, which I have noticed across the board. So this is something which we need to factor into our organizational structures. Okay. I also wanted to mention about an aspect which I felt was the conflicts bring in a lot of turbulence in the global shipping ecosystem. So there would always be, this will be one of the most addressed, movement of ships, goods in, like I mentioned in my opening narrative only, that it will always be addressed. So whether it is movement through the Red Sea, Suez Canal, it coming into the Indian Ocean region, there will always be challenges. So can we also have our dependency on the NAVIC GNSS platform is something which I think the DG Shipping now needs to look at. Should our Indian liners in Indian flag vessels having NAVIC systems, all our boats having fishing vessels having NAVIC systems? I think it's already mandated, but I think we need to emphasize this and we need to enforce it. Okay, I'll leave it there.
Yeah, okay. We will carry on with this as we move along. Let me now bring in the people from the oil corporate, from the Numaligarh Refineries Limited. They represent the very critical infra of oil and gas. Bhudev Das ji and we've got Sanjeev Dibragade ji. What are the steps? What are the activities? What are the areas that NRL has focused upon in the cyberspace over the last 5 years, especially because post-COVID there were instances of huge attacks on Oil India. There was a ransomware attack, and there have been such attacks in the oil sector, and they continue to. And even if it is not as big as an IOC or a ONGC, NRL's preparedness would stand the entire sector in good stead, because you people have an unblemished track record as far as my knowledge goes. Over to you, Sanjeev Dibragade and Mr. Bhudev Kumar Das.
Yeah, Bhudev, please brief.
Yeah. Sanjay, can I speak?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, Numaligarh as an organization, we are doing everything possible from our end for ensuring cybersecurity of our organization. As I already stated, we are a critical organization dealing in oil and gas. And for the national oil security, we always have to work 24/7. So as I told you, we need ISO 27001, and we are one of the first among the oil PSUs to do it. We did it in 2009. Subsequently, once we onboarded ISO 27001, all our policy, procedure, and guidelines were focused on information security management. And subsequently, when we graduated, we had Security Operations Center. It's a managed service where we have all the components like SIM, EDR, NDR. Even we monitor the deep and dark web for leak credentials. Then we have a disaster recovery. Then we graduated from disaster recovery to BCP, which is on AWS cloud. But now again, there's a question from the ministry, and that after the Naira incident, a lot of discussion is going on, and discussion on the sovereign cloud is going on. That is on the IT perspective. Plus, our cyber awareness training is plus throughout the year. We conduct multiple sessions. I also conduct, and along with that, we onboard a lot of, professional consultants for training our own people. That was on the IT front. Two-factor authentication and all those things we have. But on the OT front also, since OT, as Nair sir already stated, a lot of legacy hardwares are already there. Like in IT, OT, that changing the components are not so easy because two things. Because the OEM who supply the spares, those are very costly for a simple upgradation. And subsequently, the downtime is required. Downtime means we cannot bring the plant down, and that the replacement window is too less. So that is one of the critical area. And so now currently we are air gapped, and but subsequently now we are now also working for the 62443 certification for our OT team. Already work has started. Maybe by next year in the beginning, first quarter, maybe we'll be 62443 certified. That is for industrial automation. And subsequently, we're also planning for an independent OT SOC. But at later point of time, we also plan to merge our OT and IT SOC together. So these are some of the steps we have taken to protect our oil refinery. Thank you.
Sanjeev ji.
Yeah, from IT side, I'd like to give one or 2 points. One is that, since we have been running our systems, SAP systems, all dependent upon your, multinational companies. So the trend is now that, multinational companies have all become rent seekers. So that is the threat actually, which I see actually coming in the near future actually. So the incident which has happened, that Microsoft, they banned their Office 365 in Naira. So these are the new kind of threats. Actually, these are all cybersecurity threats only. Anytime they can, switch on and off. So we have the strategy which we are thinking is that, to move to a sovereign cloud systems and have a parallel, on-premise systems so that, they don't have direct control over our both data plus our systems. That is one aspect. And other thing which we are trying to develop is to actually have our Make in India. So that is the program which we are taking up extensively. Earlier also we did Make it India, but we are not successful in our security. The vendors and OEMs which are developing the startups were not actually to the mark. We had one equipment which we use for our breach detection system. So finally that company also got sold and acquired by a multinational US company. So now we are planning to deploy 5G technologies across our replacing our existing networks and having a more low latency and fast network. So here we are going for a extensive Make in India production, and we are planning to get all these things certified from our Telecom Engineering Commission, so that it meets our both security standards as well as our performance standards. These are the actually direction which we are taking our company.
Amit, can I interrupt here? Sanjeev, I think your organization is a strategic asset. So I think you're absolutely fabulous. You're actually focused on the correct way. But my only request is that while I understand that you still have dependencies on foreign products, let me tell you that I have been in this ecosystem for a long time, and so I see that a lot of Indian companies. I concede that there were smaller companies which got bought up, like an experience which I also faced a similar situation. But today we have Indian companies which can give you expert advice and manage your entire SOC knots, and they are very good at cybersecurity, and I see a lot of opportunity. So I think you need to focus on some of these Indian companies which will provide you with excellent service, and I think that's something which all of you here, including the shipping and so I interact with entire community of cyber. And I think today we have matured enough to have support the requirements of Indian strategic sector. That's what my understanding it. But maybe you are not connecting to the right people. That's something which you could actually work out. You could actually carry out a little more of market survey. That's something which you could work out.
You are here. We've got the corporates with us. We've got shipping corporation also with us. We've got oil Nirmaligarh also with us. Nirmaligarh is in Assam. They have IIT Guwahati, which is one of the premier most institutions in the country. We've got 23 IITs across the country. We've got almost around 25, 26 triple IITs across the country. What are the kind of industry academia collaborations that you guys have entered into or are planning to enter into to utilize the potential that we have, instead of depending on the companies alone who are providing such solutions? You've got talent, at the drop of a hat in front of you. So throw some light upon such collaborations. Any one of you, SCI could also speak about it.
I'll talk about NRL. NRL has entered into collaboration with IIT Guwahati. We are doing both for IT also, for our hydrocarbon also. In IT, we have entered for an AI platform, which will be developing for our tendering platform. So this we have the project is for 18 months. We have already started that project. So once we develop something, we are actually targeting to develop some type of patent actually for our tendering platform. So if we develop, then we can replicate it to the other PSUs also. So that is the project that has been started and going on with IIT Guwahati. So that is one project I'm informing this forum.
Shipping Corporation, you've got the topmost institutions in Mumbai.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the opportunity, sir. I think from DG Shipping, Dipendra sir and Mr. Nair sir has covered the threats, cyber threats, which the maritime sector is facing, especially the shipping. So I would like to, from my point of view, I would like to divide the cyber security threats into two parts. The first one is the ships, and second one is the office. So, sir, as far as SCI is concerned, we had a very robust cyber risk management policies, and we have a cyber risk management plan also. Just talking about the shipping sector, as I have mentioned in my opening statement also, at the moment, our more than 90 plus ships are trading all across the globe. Now, sir, these ships are very vulnerable targets as far as cyber security threats are concerned. First of all, the ships which are flying have got 3-4 systems which is very open to cyber threats, and we have measures to plug those. The first very important system is the electronic charge display system, which we call it ECDIS, electronic charge display and information system. As you know, sir, the ships have to follow a certain. Earlier we had the paper charts. Now with the digital era has come, so we have all the electronic charts are there, which shows the routes, traffics, separation schemes all across the globe, and our ships are following that. And these traffic lanes, these charts, electronic charts, updated regularly. So these data receiving from the outside parties. So we have a mechanism wherein we have taken steps to filter this thing, and whichever reliable sources we are taking these inputs. So first these charts, and then second one is the publications. All these digital publications which the ships are using for trading purpose, like we have got admiralty tide tables, we have got sailing directions, we have got list of lights publications. All these publications are being used for the navigation purpose, and these needs to be updated. So these updates are coming from outside. So this is the second part. And the third part is we have installed the CCTV and the monitoring system on board. Now, how the office is monitoring the ships is through the CCTV and monitoring of the various parameters of the ships. So, and the fourth one is the email connectivity. So now, when the ship is flying, they have to coordinate with the various, like as it was mentioned, the ports. They have to communicate with the ports. They have to communicate with the agents, and for various other requirements, they have to communicate with the various agencies. And mainly, the communication is through email and these emails attachments. So all these four systems: email, CCTV monitoring, digital publications, active systems, all these are vulnerable to cyber threats. And we have taken many steps, and the plan is in place to thwart these cyber threats. So as Nair Sahab has mentioned that MSCO Antonio has grounded in the early years, and there has been incident of the hitting of Baltimore Bridge. So our ships have also been subjected to these threats. Like when our ships were transiting in the Gulf areas, and this GPS spoofing was a bigger threat for us. All the ships which are plying in the, near the Iran waters and the Strait of Hormuz, the actual as per the GPS, the positions which we got in the office, the shore office, was on the land, but actually the ships were plying in at the sea only. They were sailing in the ocean lanes, but the position was shown as a on the land or near the islands. So this was very threatening situation for us. And then we have to revert back to paper charts some places, because electronic this ecosystem cannot be relied upon. So we switched back to our paper chart system, and that's how we managed those situations. That is why, and we have during that time and during the previous this thing also, we have got a system of training of seafarers which are going on board. So these seafarers are given cyber training before joining the ships, that what all threats which will be faced while we are working. And on the ship there are different verticals, like there is a navigation, there is a machinery, there is a catering department. So all these departments are having the different threats. And moreover, the welfare of the seafarers is utmost important. So we have provided that connectivity, email connectivity, where the email connectivity as well the phone connectivity, where they wherein they can communicate with their families. So that is also subjected to the cyber threats. So so we have identified all the threats, and we have taken. So that is how we are managing, sir. And as far as office is concerned, we have a IT department, and from our IT department, Mr. Sachin Dev is there. So he will be guiding on the office part. And in the office part, we have the business continuity plan, which caters to all these cyber threats, what needs to be done, how it is to be mitigated, and how the effects can be minimized in case something happens with respect to cyber security. So I would request
Sachin Devji.
Yes, sir.
You were hearing, you were listening to Chandresh Gupta ji.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Take us forward from there.
Yeah, we have in place our all the equipments related to cybersecurity to safeguard our office network, and we have a DR setup also, and BCP plan is also there, and we have regularly audits, cybersecurity audits, VAPT audits, and recently we are in the project to refresh our data center with the latest hardware technologies and softwares. So this is the future plan, and we have NOC also, and we are also sensitizing our users regarding the new threats and cyber hygiene. It is already in place. So this is it. And my senior, Mr. Avijit Das, who is looking after cyber security in SCI, he is also with me, and he would also like to say something regarding this.
Good morning, everyone. So we have 3 layers of security, both administrative level security, physical level security, and technological level security. So in our infrastructure, all the IT infrastructure devices are secured via perimeter security, where our firewalls, web application firewalls, proxies, all those devices are laid. And the endpoints, we have antivirus. For like my colleague said, we are using cybersecurity awareness sessions to educate all our end users and stakeholders. We're also sensitizing very different matters related to Government of India guidelines, which are coming from MIT and certain empaneled auditors. We're also doing vulnerability assessment of our systems. So in all, we are following all the procedures laid down by Certain and Mighty for securing the IT infrastructure for both onshore and offshore.
Okay, fantastic. Now, I mean, question to any one of you from SCI, and then I take it to General Nair. What are the, kind of bulwarks or the kind of coordination efforts directed towards future issues with respect to the subject being discussed with your vendors, especially the GRSEs and all those kind of companies? You've been placing, big orders recently. So are you already, preempting such future issues, and are you coordinating well with your suppliers?
Sachin, you can answer this query.
So this, can you just re-elaborate the query again? What is it about?
The query was, I mean, are you coordinating well for future issues with respect to cybersecurity, with respect to the ships that you are procuring or planning to procure from your vendors? And there are huge orders in the pipeline that SCI has.
So yes, I mean, going forward, we are trying to invest more on zero trust technologies. So the newer devices which are coming in the data center refresh, we have procured, we have discussed with various OEMs, and so we've discussed like what all new technologies are available in the market, where both in on-prem or cloud-based solutions are integrated well, because this shipping is running 24/7, where your users are always on the move, and vessels are air gapped in the sea. So what kind of technologies are required at the data center point? So we have discussed with many security solution vendors like CrowdStrike or Trend Micro, Co-ops. So they have solution with zero trust technologies right now. We have discussed with the implementation and the use cases in other government organizations. So that's what we are planning in. And infrastructure procurement, which we are doing right now. So those devices are listed in that.
General Nair, quickly now, because we've got 10-15 more minutes now with us, 15 minutes to be precise. General Nair, what are your suggestions for the sector? Because the DG office is also here, and also for companies like Shipping Corporation of India, which handle a very critical infra called shipping and ports.
Okay, so I've listened to the multiple sectors. First, as I mentioned even in my preliminary, the thing that the cybersecurity awareness has definitely gone to the industries today. So every sector is focusing on cybersecurity, but some of the practices are, or like audit mechanisms which are there. It's more for compliance aspects even today. Like it's just say that you have to tick box something, and then that's where it's left today. So I think a little more of deeper scrutiny is essential. One, two. Now we are actually dealing with three separate sectors here. Now you look at the empanel, like you all say that it should be a certain empanel auditor. Now, does that auditor have knowledge on your specific sector? Now, a certain empaneled auditor could be actually a financial auditor who's auditing your system, which is a little different. So I think you need to identify auditors who are skilled or knowledgeable in your specific sector, which will add value to your cybersecurity functioning. This is something which you could actually, as a practice, look at. This is, I think, I would leave it to each one of you to have a look at it. Third, you all said that your cloud, you're looking at sovereign cloud or GCC. Now understand that this cloud provider, it could be it could be XYZ, but he houses a lot of data from multiple ministries, multiple government departments, and even private data from enterprises which are there. Now there could be a vulnerability in any of these applications which are within the GCC or in the sovereign cloud. Now you are all going to be bound by the DPDP Act, and any of the vulnerabilities in any of these applications which are, or the data which is housed in this GCCs, if there is a data contamination or vulnerability which actually laterally moves inside the GCC, the sovereign cloud. Now, who should be responsible for this? So when you carry out a vetting or when you give out your RFPs or when you sign contracts, you all need to be a little more cautious and make sure that the responsibility lies with the cloud hoster, who are providing you with the services, that he should make sure that the entire system is protected. This is something which I learned. There have been some vulnerabilities from the government cloud hosters very recently. It also happens with the private players. So let me put it across that you need to be very, very cautious on this. Okay. Other issues which came up, which was not discussed, is not, like Amit mentioned about drones. Now, this is something which you may not be directly involved, but you need to make sure that your entire area is physically protected from drones also. This is something which you need to understand this. And you have sensitive establishments. Even a ship, for that matter, is today a strategic asset. So there is nothing called perfect drone detection. So if there is a vendor who tells you that I'll be able to detect 100%, it's not just possible today. Especially low-flying drones are very difficult to detect. And I'm talking from a practical experience. So please, if somebody tells you this, please be very careful. Similarly, if somebody tells you that they'll provide you with zero trust architecture, I think you need to look at it a little more deliberately. And let me also tell you that there are adequate Indian companies which are now providing you better architecture than many of the foreign firms. They may not be in a position to market you the product well because they are small entities, but I see a lot of hope in our small startups. They may not be able to scale up to your expectations. I agree there. I think we need to do a little hand holding there, but I think there is a lot of opportunity in giving small assignments to smaller entities. And modernization, especially of IT, as I mentioned earlier, that it's something which you need to follow up. And when you are having your data stored, you're looking at data centers, you're looking at DR sites. It could be a better practice to even have data stored offline at some point of time, at least in a 6 monthly basis. So it will give you some sort of degree of assuredness that this data is available to you. And if you come across any ransomware attacks or forced encryptions, it is there to protect you. These are some good practices which you should have. Segmentation is something which I think it's a standard practice now, especially IT, OT. Within IT and within OT too, I think you could actually compartmentalize, and if there is a vulnerability, we could actually plug it at that point of time. This is something which you could actually look at. Threat intel, I think all of you big players are actually looking at threat intel, and I think today we have adequate threat intel platforms which are in-house within the country, indigenous ones. So again, I would request you to please have a focus on Indian platforms. And there is a national malware repository, which I think the Indian government has actually now created. I think very soon you will have visibility to that also. That's something which you should actually look at. Private collaboration, I think that's the way the business is going to go in future. And I think the connect with some of the academic institutions, like I think the NRL has done, it's a wonderful initiative. And I think even the shipping, even the DG shipping should focus on collaboration. Maybe you should look at training or collaboration to look at some of the challenges if you're exclusive ecosystem with some of the institutions which have competence and knowledge. Some of the institutions which are there, especially Amit mentioned, then it could be along our western coast or eastern coast. Some of these institutions have a lot of talent and aptitude. Workforce sensitization. Now, this is something which I'm very fond of. I think right from cyber hygiene to all your operators, I think once in a month or maybe during the month of October when you have the cyber security awareness month, it's called actually the cyber Jagrukta month. So I think you need to have this very frequently, and especially the leadership, the officers, I think in their training institutions, you need to have capsules for cyber. I think that's something which is a good practice. So in your officers training, the basic course onwards, you should have cybersecurity as a capsule which is put, so that at least they become aware of the vulnerabilities, and as they grow in service, they give due impetus to this. This is something which I just thought I wanted to put it across. Enabling leadership, I mentioned to you, and I think it is a good practice to have even a board member with a cybersecurity background. I think this is something which we need to now factor in. Amit, I think at your level also, I think we need to push for, every organization today have boards, and one member at least should have some cybersecurity background. And in your annual reports, which are generated of your respective organizations, there could be a sentence, a paragraph on cybersecurity. I think including audit carry out, and what are the challenges which you faced and what is required to be done is something which you could actually incorporate. You are aware that, the NCIPC and the CERTIN, the NCIPC has come out with a national cyber reference framework, which is more oriented towards energy sector, but other sectors too can actually adopt similar measures, and as sector regulators, you could actually look at it and make sure that similar practices are there in your organization too. I stop here, Amit. I think you could take this forward.
Yeah, Mr. Das has a point. Mr. Bhudev Das.
Yeah, just wanted to ask one small thing. So can you highlight us something on the, I mean to say, companies or Indian organizations who are providing services for anti-drone mechanism? Because a lot of discussion is happening in the ministry, but no.
That's a subject which is of immense love
no
for
clear
him.
guidelines. So no clear guidelines is coming on that. That is one thing. And secondly, yeah, that's only, yeah.
Bhudev, I think you can have a one-to-one with me. Actually, many companies which are promoting this business has no, say, I've been in this ecosystem for a long time. And actually, you could actually be part of my LinkedIn thing also. I've written there also that, very difficult to detect a drone today. So if somebody says that he can detect a drone, it's just not possible. Let me put it across very bluntly to each one of you. So all of you have challenges, especially in your refineries complexes. It's a major challenge. How do you detect a drone which is flying? So there are, you can actually do electromagnetic spectrum, through electronic warfare, etc., jam it, etc. But it doesn't work in many times. Libraries have to be there. So you can get back to me. There are some companies which are better than the others, but I think we can have an off-course discussion on this particular thing.
We are in the process, Mr. Das and all others. We are in the process of organizing a dedicated show with General Nair on drones itself, because that is the area which most people are worried about nowadays. As I just said in one of my, statements, that even pigeons are banned nowadays. You're going to be banning all kinds of things in the days to come. Especially, example, MRPL, one of your sector companies, Mangalore Refinery, has a border, circumference of boundary circumference of approximately 18 kilometers. 18 kilometers. Now just imagine the kind of threats they are subjected to. 20 kilometers of boundary line for a petroleum organization. 20 kilometers. Now, so now before I go to the closing stages, Madam Anju, what are the activities or steps that you've taken for academia, industry collaborations? Because to cater to your sector, the MSMEs, the best way is to tap into the local technical resources that you have across the country. And we have IITs, we have triple ITs, we have the NITs. What kind of collaborations you have done?
Sir, for the academia, we NSIC do have their own NTSEs, National Technical Centers, where we are having the courses running for the specific cyber security and for various IT aspects as well. So we are conducting courses in the PPP mode as well with the private players for different IT aspects, including the cyber security, to make the MSMEs and upcoming entrepreneurs make them aware about the cyber security aspects of India. So these are some of the initiative which is being taken by NSIC.
Now the closing remarks from General Nair. General Nair, you've heard people from 2, 3, 4 sectors, critical organizations like NDMA also, or most important organizations like NDMA. Why don't we set up something like a national cybersecurity agency or authority?
Amit, this was being hotly debated actually at our level and at the highest level actually. So like I think Anju only mentioned about the National Cybersecurity policy which is of 2013 vintage. Now, the challenge is that, this particular cybersecurity is sector agnostic. It touches right from individuals to the highest organization today. So if we create an authority, now it should touch on every aspect of it. Now imagine the quantum of awareness, or competence which needs to be built into this authority. Should it be like the TRAI, the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India? Now also understand that there are issues related to privacy involved in this particular thing. So we need to weigh and have the right proportion of what's security and what is privacy. So these are all debates which were going on, but there is a lot of work which is happening, and I'm sure there is a national cybersecurity strategy being thought about. So it's in pipeline. But since every ministry has stakes in cybersecurity, should it be centralized? Should it be decentralized? You have a federated structure in our country. So who should be managing cybersecurity is a major issue today. But notwithstanding that, my job is to make sure that cybersecurity awareness comes into every industry, right from individuals onwards to every player. And that's the reason why I sit with people like you and speak to all of you to have this awareness coming in. And small actions like what I had mentioned would definitely help. And for the NDMA, I just wanted to also connect this that, since you're also there, every device which is there in remote locations, since I'm also a specialist on communications, I just thought every device, if you are depending on terrestrial on connectivity, it's not likely to survive, especially when you have situations like flash floods or cloud bursts, etc. taking place. So you need to have satellite connectivity, and that's where we need to work on space-based platforms providing connectivity to the individual devices. This is something which you need to work on, especially the NDMA. I think it has to be a larger project, but make sure that the cybersecurity ecosystem for that also is built in. You can't say that there is no cybersecurity backend for disaster relief. No, please don't think it from that point of view. So today, anything can be interfered with. Anything which is radiating, anything which is piped can be interfered with. So I think you need to have at least basic cybersecurity for these networks which you are planning. Amit, it's been a wonderful interaction.
General, before we let you go and stop the show, we got 3 more minutes. Anyone? Any observations or any suggestions? Any one of you, sir?
One small query from my side. Like, I've been attending a lot of meetings in the ministry and a lot of conferences. So NCPIC is working on the comprehensive reference framework since a long time, but the final copy still it's not released actually. So that's another problem. So
you please contact NCIPC. I'll make sure that you can speak to any of their. I think I'm not sure they have a DG, but speak to their DDG. NCR, the National Cyber Reference Framework is already out since last, I think, March. Okay, you can get a copy of it.
No, sir. Actually, there's some issue in it. They have not released it. Some modifications are still going on. That's what I could recall from the last meeting, actually, maybe.
I know you could actually have a. You can connect with me directly. I'll make sure that you get a copy of it.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
We will ensure that we will help to get you that copy. Okay, now, General Nair, we are moving to a stage wherein India is facing layoffs in the IT sector, because this is IT specific, huge layoffs in the IT sector. That is in the news. Companies, the biggest employer in the nation, private employer in the nation. You come from the biggest employer in the world, India's defense. And here we have a situation where in the private sector, TCS, for example, is having huge layoff controversies. Also other companies like Cognizant, Capgemini, Wipro, Infosys. At the same time, India is geared up and gearing up for another 500 GCCs in the next 1.5 years. Global capability centers, wherein the foreign companies are setting up the shops here. They're going to employ the local talents here. You think India is well prepared in the kind of discussions that we've had just now about the cyber threats, cybersecurity, foreign interference, etc., and the kind of risks, global threats that we are subjected to, and the kind of global dynamics which are changing by the day? How do you think India can protect itself from these changing dynamics in the IT landscape?
Amit, conflicts will always be there when large number of people congregate. We don't think, all of us don't think alike. So there will be conflicts, there will be disagreements, there will be changes, which will changes are going to be permanent. I mean, there's nothing like change. It keeps happening. So every organization, every individual, in fact, I'll start with every citizen, every organization, every nation must be prepared to face these changes, which are happening due to multiple challenges which we face in our global ecosystem. So every organization will have this challenge that if they don't move with the change, there will be difficulties which the organization will face. But security or protecting yourself will never run out of fashion. It will always be there. So security is something which is inherent and which we need to make sure that it is there. And I think the best talent in cybersecurity, in the digital security ecosystem, lies within our country. And that's the reason why many of these GCCs are actually now coming to our country to attract this talent. So I don't think we should be unduly worried about this. And I think as a nation, I think we are well prepared. Yes, we need to update our children, make sure that our citizens are aware of cyber hygiene, prepare more people to get into this system as and when like I mentioned about computer science or computer science graduates, which we are actually churning out. They should now focus on cyber security, digital security, because all of us will be connected more and more on digital ecosystem. Look at electronic vehicles, connected vehicles. So even vehicles are getting connected these days. So it'll never run out of fashion. So I leave it there, Amit. I think we have.
Will it not increase the headache of people like you who man such critical offices? Because here what we're talking about is, increasing or the expansion of the scope and ambit of such operations with interference with the foreign bodies. That's like the cases we faced with the Yahoos and the Facebooks and the Meta and joint ventures, the constitutional scope of arrangements, the legal frameworks. Will it not increase the headache of the country?
Absolutely, Amit. Sovereignty is something which cannot compromise. It is territorial sovereignty, it is cyber sovereignty, it could be, economic sovereignty, something which we can't compromise. So we need to
suddenly,
have our own.
Suddenly they have realized the importance of cost savings, and they have started setting up shops here. At the same time, people are throwing away employees from their companies, and so there is this juxtaposition and this, vicious circle being formed. I hope you understand what I'm trying to come to.
Yeah, Amit, I completely agree with you. But the companies also, that's why I said, you need to look at the future and see the changes which are going, and the changes will be faster because of technology, shifts which are taking place, transformations which are taking place. So I think you look at companies which are there yesteryears, many of them have died a natural death because they never kept pace with technological changes which are taking place. Okay.
Finally, it is the critical infra show. India is opening up its critical infra to private sector participation directly as well as through FDIs. Even the nuclear sector has been opened up quite a bit over the last 1 year. The rare mineral sector, which, again, it's a huge subject, and then also the atomic, ISRO, space, everything is getting opened up. The Prime Minister announced it before announcing in the Independence Day speech. It was already public domain knowledge that the nuclear space has been opened up to the private sector because NPCIL has inked a lot of important MOUs with private players who don't really have a wonderful track record. So, I mean, very, very, very candid. So what do you suggest to the kind of risks that we face in the future with respect to critical infra? And then we close the show.
Yeah, as I mentioned, the threats to the security, threats to the digital ecosystem will continue to only increase. And I think today technology finds you solutions to every aspect of the challenge which we face. But understand this, that technology alone will not actually solve the problem. It has to be human ingenuity. So it has to be technology initiatives along with human ingenuity, which will actually find solutions to the problems which we are going to face in future. Amit.
Okay, I think it has been quite a fruitful discussion in the kind of time that we had with us, and we'll try to keep having such more discussions with you And these participants must be thanked a lot because they spared their valuable time and their knowledge, their experience, because these are all people which the country should be proud of. They work in the public sector companies, and they are the people who contribute to this country's economy, almost selflessly, when you especially see the kind of salaries and the kind of scams that we keep reading about in the banking sector. Thank you so much. Jai Hind. See you again. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.